So, when it comes to building for the web, there's this constant tug of war, right? You want things to be fast, you want them to be dynamic, and of course, super interactive. It feels like you can only ever pick two. Well, today, we're going to look at a framework called Next.js that says, hey, why not all three? Let's see how they do it.
Yeah, think about it. Can a website really be interactive, totally dynamic, and crazy fast, all at the same time? It's the big question, isn't it? You want that snappy, responsive feel, you need that fresh, live content, but you also need it to load before your user even blinks. It sounds kind of impossible, like you have to make a trade-off somewhere.
And that right there, that's the great puzzle of the modern web. But there's one framework that was pretty much built from day one to solve exactly this. So let's unpack how Next.js tackles this whole thing.
All right, first up on our quest, interactivity. We're talking about making a website feel less like a document and more like a living, breathing app that responds to your every click instantly.
Okay, so the first tool in the toolbox for this is something called client-side rendering, or CSR for short. The best way to think about it is like getting one of those meal kit boxes delivered. The server sends your browser a box with all the raw ingredients in the recipe card. That's the JavaScript. Then your browser has to do all the work. It chops, it cooks, it assembles the entire page right there in front of you. And this is fantastic for those super complex apps, like a dashboard with tons of charts and filters, where that moment-to-moment interaction is everything.
So where does Next.js fit in? Well, it's built on top of React, which, as you know, is all about creating these interactive components. So it's already got a huge head start. It's fantastic at managing all that cooking that happens in the browser. But here's the key. Next.js isn't just React. It's a whole framework wrapped around it. It adds the structure, the rules, the optimizations. It basically turns React from just a UI library into a full-blown powerhouse for building apps. Okay, interactivity is one thing. But what happens when the information itself is always changing? That leads us to our second big quest, the hunt for truly dynamic content. Think about an e-commerce site where inventory is always shifting, or your social feed that's different every single time you refresh. For this job, we need a different approach. Server-side rendering, or SSR. Now, if CSR was the meal kit your browser has to cook, SSR is like going to a restaurant. You place your order and the chef, that's the server, prepares your dish fresh just for you with all the latest ingredients. The fully cooked meal is then delivered right to your table. Every single request gets a custom-made page. This is perfect for something like your personalized news feed or a product page that absolutely has to show the correct stock level. And this is where you really start to see the magic of Next.js. It's not just a front-end thing. It's a full-stack framework. It can be the chef in the kitchen, too. It has these incredible features like server components, which are bits of code that run only on the server to grab the latest data. And with its modern app router, it makes it super easy to organize all this server-side logic. Basically, Next.js handles all that complex work in the background, so the page that shows up for you is always perfectly up to date. All right, we've got interactivity, we've got dynamic data, but what about the one thing that can kill any user experience? Speed. This is our third quest, the need for ultimate speed. Because let's be real, if a site takes more than a couple of seconds to load, we're all done, right?
The secret weapon for speed is called static site generation, or SSG. And to finish our food analogy, if CSR is the meal kit and SSR is the made-to-order dish, then SSG is the perfect prepackaged grab-and-go meal. It's already made, sitting on the shelf, ready for you to take. The page is built ahead of time, so when you ask for it, it's just there, instantly. No cooking, no waiting. This is an absolute game changer for things that don't change much, like blog posts, documentation, or marketing pages.
And this is a huge part of the Next.js philosophy. Speed isn't an add-on, it's the default. By pre-building as much as it can, it serves up content that feels instantaneous. The framework is just loaded with all these automatic optimizations that work behind the scenes to make your site ridiculously fast without you even having to think about it. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a path for interactivity, a path for dynamic content, and a path for pure speed. 3 separate quests. But this is where it all comes together. This is the really clever part about Next.js. The whole point is that you don't have to choose just one path. It's not about making a sacrifice. You don't have to give up speed to get cool interactions or ditch dynamic data to load fast. The entire idea is to give you, the developer, the freedom to mix and match all 3.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly, right? You've got CSR in the browser for that rich app-like feel. You've got SSR on the server happening with every request,
for that live, dynamic content. And you have SSG, also on the server, but done way ahead of time for that incredible speed. The mind-blowing part is that Next.js lets you use all of these approaches, sometimes on the very same page. A single page can have static parts, dynamic parts, and interactive parts.
And this quote really just nails it. It says, Next.js provides the infrastructure to determine where and when content is rendered. It's not just about giving you the tools, it's about giving you the intelligence to decide the absolute best way to build and deliver every single piece of your website.
And just like that, we're back where we started. But now we have the solution. The puzzle is solved. By combining all these strategies, Next.js lets you build apps where you don't have to make those painful compromises. You get the awesome interactivity, the live data, and the blazing speed. All of it.
So let me leave you with this final thought. For so long, web development has been a game of trade-offs. You pick your path and you accept the limitations. But what happens when those limitations are just gone? When you're not forced to choose just one path, what new kinds of websites and apps become possible? What can you build when the answer isn't either or, but all of the above?